The story begins with a man desperate to earn some money. He finds a credit card and with it he enters a space called the Financial District. This man meets Soichiro Mikuna in this new world, and it seems that Soichiro is fighting some sort of creature. The man tries to fight Soichiro and he loses pretty badly. The following day, this man decides to commit suicide, but we don't know the clear reason just yet. In the meantime, we are introduced to Kimimaro Yoga, who is working multiple jobs just to have a normal life. Kimimaro tries really hard to study and get a better job. One night, he meets a mysterious person called Masakaki. Masakaki tells Kimimaro that he is now part of a special project. If he accepts the job, he will start to work as a businessman in a very luxurious bank. Kimimaro does not believe this offer, so he does not give a clear answer. The following day, Kimimaro finds 500,000 yen on his private account. Kimimaro decides to take out his friend Hanabi for some drinks. Masakaki appears once more and tells Kimimaro to get into a taxi. Kimimaro goes to the Financial District and he has to be part of a battle called Deals. Kimimaro starts to work with Monsieur in this game, and they have to fight against an asset called Gig. In this game, the participants need to wage their money, but Kimimaro has no idea what the real rules are. Monsieur manages to protect Kimimaro from incoming attacks. Kimimaro finally learns how to use the abilities in the game, and with that, he wins. Kimimaro then goes back to the normal world, and Masakaki tells him that the next game of Deal happens next week. Kimimaro is now part of this dangerous game. We're introduced to Jennifer Sato, who is trying to find out more about the Financial District and what happens there. In the meantime, we learn that Kimimaro has lost his parents when they disappeared many years ago. Kimimaro finds a bag with the keys of the Midas Bank, and then he decides to visit the Financial District to learn more about his father and family. Kimimaro later learns from Mikuni that his father was a very problematic person. They go and talk with a photographer who explains that Kimimaro's father lost a lot of money and hanged himself. Kimimaro decides to join another Deal game and find out more. Kimimaro starts a duel with one of his teachers from the past. This teacher is called Mr. Ibarra, and Kimimaro manages to defeat him. Mr. Ibarra now has no money. The following day, Ibarra talks with Kimimaro and tells him that he only started to participate in the duels to feed his family. Ibarra admits that because he became bankrupt, now his children no longer exist in this reality. The teacher reveals that Mikuni is part of the Starling Guild, and they're trying to stop the Financial District to change the real human world. Kimimaro sees another player participate in duel, and he realizes how powerful some of the contestants are. He decides to train and never lose again in a match because he does not want others to lose their futures. Kimimaro is now tasked with a special mission. He has to win, but by small margins, so that reality does not change. This is all explained by Mikuni and his Starling Guild. Kimimaro fails at this as he is inexperienced. Back in the real world, Kimimaro finds out valuable information from a taxi driver. It seems that even the smallest losses in a game of Deal can really change a person's future. Kimimaro starts to get bad test results, which means his loss in the game has had an effect on his real life. Mikuni and Kimimaro talk about the Financial District. Mikuni admits that his main mission is to keep the balance between the human world and this different reality. Kimimaro is now part of the Starling Guild, and Jennifer is still on their mission to expose the Financial District. Kimimaro now has to face off against his newest enemy, who is called Ko Senoza. Kimimaro refuses to cooperate with Ko, and that puts him in conflict with Jennifer. Jennifer reveals that Mikuni is using his own future to minimize the effects it's having on other people. He is sacrificing parts of his life every day until the games go on. Kimimaro finally accepts the deal with Ko. While Ko at first seems like a good person, he betrays Kimimaro. Kimimaro manages to use his strength to win at the end of the day. We learn about Mikuni's past. It seems that he was a musician, but he had to quit so that he could help his father run his business. His sister Takako got sick, but Mikuni's father decided to use all his money for his company and not her medical treatment. For that reason, Mikuni decides to take revenge on his father. In the present, Mikuni now runs everything, and he is in charge of his father's business. Kimimaro has a few more duels with other players, and when he returns home that same night, he notices that some of the buildings are now missing and out of place. Suddenly, the banks in the Financial District start to lose money, and even some go bankrupt. In the real world, several countries now turn into poor nations with many struggling people. The people start to disappear, and some of them don't ever want to work. Mikuni and his Starling Guild are preparing to stop something that is only known as C. Suddenly, the Southeast Asian Financial District goes bankrupt, and it disappears. At the same time, the entire country of Singapore slowly starts to fade out of reality. Singapore now slowly disappears, but the same thing starts starts to happen with Shanghai and Hong Kong. It seems that all these major cities are being affected by something called C. Mikuni then sacrifices 20 years of his own future so that he can create a lot of the currency called Midas money. This all gets put into his personal account. With that money, Mikuni tries to invest it in poor businesses all across Japan. Mikuni tries to save Japan's economy with his new plan, but he still cannot save the future. Japan is safe in the present, but there is no guarantee it won't disappear. People soon start to disappear in Japan as well, and overall, the situation becomes worse. The economy starts to fail. The North American financial district starts to increase their own money, and that way, they overtake the market. The American people can now avoid the mysterious event called C. They also redirect C to attack Japan once more. Mikuni uses his black card and all the money he has to save the Japan economy once again. In the meantime, Kimimaro joins forces with Jennifer and Taketazaki, and they decide to stop Mikuni before he manages to complete his transaction. They think that they have to save the future from his actions. Kimimaro tries to fight off other guild members, while at the same time, Mikuni defeats Jennifer in battle. Kimimaro then faces off against Mikuni and tries to have him explain everything he has done. Mikuni does not think that using the Midas money was anything evil. He thinks it was the only way to save the future. Kimimaro suddenly owns a black card, and he then reverts the Midas money press, stopping Mikuni's plan. The Midas money press is the reason why everything bad is happening. Mikuni and Kimimaro start their final battle for the future. The duel between Mikuni and Kimimaro begins, and they use all their power. Mikuni uses his powers a lot, and at the end of the battle, he starts to get weaker. People all around the country realize that the Midas money is cursed. Kimimaro continues the fight, and soon the battle ends. All the Midas money disappears, and Mikuni loses the match. Kimimaro manages to hit him with a final blow. Also, Kimimaro protects Japan from the sea effects. Kimimaro is finally declared the winner, so he decides to reverse the entire process, and he gives back the future to the people. Now everything returns back to normal. Masuyu says goodbye to Kimimaro and kisses him before she vanishes. Kimimaro returns to the human world, and there he learns that the US dollar is now the official currency in Japan. All the people have their futures back, and some things have changed. Kimimaro can now continue his normal life, happy that he has saved people and changed the future for the better.